Hey team, I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about an equation. Something so powerful to me that it's recently changed the way I've thought about leading a team. This equation describes a force that can overcome adversity, it can knock down barriers, and truly I think it can motivate a following. So this equation comes from the world of physics, but when you apply the concept to a team or an organization, I truly think it's one of the most powerful concepts really in leadership. And so what am I talking about? Just get to it, right? I'm talking about the concept of momentum. And so we've all heard about and learned about momentum, thinking back to physics class in high school or university. But let's go through some examples, right? Pictures say 1,000 words, and so let's look at some examples of momentum. I mean, look at this beautiful animal, this 5,000 pound rhino just barreling forward. A tremendous amount of momentum there. Or this boat, 200,000 tons of steel just churning through the water. A tremendous amount of momentum. It takes forever to turn or to stop. Or this massive freight train, right? This thing, even with full brakes applied, can take over a mile to stop. There's tremendous momentum. And so when you think about your team in that context, this, big and strong and powerful and fast, it's truly like unstoppable momentum. You can't slow this down. That's what everybody wants on their team. That's what you want to build. And so how do you do that? Well, let's think about the formula. The formula for momentum. Momentum equals mass times velocity, right? So let's break that down a little bit. Mass, what that is, that's obviously that's the size of something, the quantity of something. Think about velocity. Well, that's a speed measurement, and the difference between speed and velocity is velocity has direction, and so you need a forward movement in this case. You want forward movement over time, that forward speed, and so obviously you can't just have momentum. You need to build it. You need to grow it. So you think about the equation. How do you make momentum go up? Well, you either make the mass go up or you make the velocity go up. And so if you have this teeny tiny boat going nowhere and you want to build momentum, well, you need a bigger boat or you need a faster boat or both in this case. There you go. Boom, momentum. These examples of this little tiny car. You want a bigger car, you want a truck, make it go fast. There you go. Now has momentum. Or this merry-go-round, right? Hey, remember those? Death traps as children flying around? I don't know if you can find these things anymore, but this one has no momentum, and boom, add some kids, get them moving along in the same direction, and all of a sudden they're flying. They have momentum. And so that last example transitions us into the idea of a team and a bunch of people moving in the same direction, starting to build momentum. And that starts to build team or organizational momentum. And so the way I like to think about this now is organizational momentum is people, which are your mass in the organization or on your team, and then forward movement over time, your velocity. So your forward movement over time. And so when you think about this, you can influence those things. If you want to grow team or organizational momentum, you want to grow the number of people or the resources who are engaged in that work. So you want to think about, wellness. You want to make sure that they're engaged. You want more people working towards your goals. On the velocity side, velocity, remember, is directional. So you need to have everybody aligned. You need to have direction. And you need to be moving forward. So direction, forward movement, and developing speed. And so more and more and more steps in the right direction gives you organizational or team momentum. And so what I really think is powerful here is that as a leader, if you take this equation and break it down, it really helps you focus on 4 things. 1, increasing the number of engaged participants on your team or in your workforce. The number of people working on your project or your plan or your strategy. And then you want to think about direction setting, vision, making sure everybody's aligned in the same vector. And then you want to motivate them, make sure they're participating. And then you can think about, baby steps, giant leaps, massive success. All of those things build together. So really, it's just about building and sustaining any amount of forward momentum or forward motion starts to build momentum. So engaging people, setting clear direction, taking steps forward, and at the same time, you want to prevent that from slowing down. So reducing friction or resistance, dealing with all those things that slow you down and get in your way. And if you focus as a leader on those 4 things, you will generate unstoppable momentum on your team. I would love to hear from you what you think about this. Put your thoughts in the comments, share so we can get the word out. Really excited to share this with you. Take care, everyone.